So I want to talk to you today about the main requirements for making your transitioning successful. And I have talked about this in so many different ways, but I feel like now that there are so many of you who are following me and watching and learning, I wanted to bring this overview back to you knowing what to focus on as you transition, whether you're transitioning to the private sector, whether you are transitioning within the humanitarian sector, or whether you are transitioning to being your own boss. Whatever the transitioning you are pursuing, this is the video to watch. Because as soon as the challenges come up, as soon as the difficulties and hardship and struggle come up, it feels like we're not really focusing on what is important, right? We're not really focusing on what makes any transitioning successful. And that's why I would like for you to come back to watch this video every time you get derailed, every time you feel like you're not moving forward, every time you feel like, okay, what is it really that I need to be focusing on? Then I would like for you to come back and use this video. So here are my tested answers as to what does it take to make any transitioning successful. And the answer is, a short answer is ownership and stop being a victim to circumstances. Excuse me. Now, I want to explain to you with examples of how that is happening or how that is true, so that you can really see in practice what do I mean. So let's say that you are dreading transitioning, but also you are dreading networking in transitioning, right? So let's say that that's one of the areas that you feel you need to work on, whether you are transitioning to the private sector or being your own boss. Even in the humanitarian sector, networking has become one of the skills that we need to know how to use well. Now, let's say that you are dreading that, you are hating it, you are believing that this is not the way things should be, and all of those things. Now, in that moment, it becomes very easy for anyone in that situation to just say that, well, then I can't do anything about it. Well, then I am not good at this, or I'm not going to do this, or whatever it is. And then we just keep struggling about it. So the ownership in that situation would have been to say, okay, I am seeing why I don't like networking or why I don't want to network and all of these things. But is there any other way that I can solve my problem of getting a job? Right? Is there a way to solve this problem to get a job? And if not, is the networking can help me? And if so, if I believe it can help me, then what are the ways that I can do? What are the ways that I can do my networking in my own style that will make myself feel like I can do that, right? So the ownership is, instead of just giving up or deflecting the responsibility or assigning the responsibility to something else, what we then need to do is solve that problem one way or another. That is what ownership is. Now, this at the same time, not being a victim to circumstances means that even if our brain is saying networking does not work, or the job situation is bad, or the competition is fierce, I don't think I will get this. What is the point when our brain keeps interpreting the situation around us in the way that is so negative, and we just give in to those judgments and emotions, and then just feel like, oh, I don't want to do anything? That is when we became victim of those circumstances, right? So that is when we became, we're just accepting the circumstances for how it is not favorable to us, how it is unjust, how this is not possible, how that's this, da, da, da. And then we just give up and not want to keep going. That is how we become victim of those circumstances. Now, the opposite of being a victim is owning the situation of whatever the circumstance is, I am in charge of how to make things work because there is no alternative, right? Like whenever I discuss this with my clients, they always feel like, well, but I can't make it work. Well, it is very hard. Well, it is impossible nowadays. And even if that is, let's say that objectively that is true, let's say that we can find objective measurements to show that this is true, it is not going to help us, right? So focusing on that cannot help us, right? I was talking to a client last week actually, and she was saying, well, Asel, you need to agree with me that it's objectively difficult. And I was saying, but even if I do agree with this, what are we going to do with that information? Right? Whatever the circumstances that are happening, this is information, and then we are in charge of giving them the meaning. And if we keep giving them the meaning that it's difficult, it's hard, it's impossible, then guess what our brain will do? We will not want to move forward. And that's very understandable because we're just saying that we can't handle it. But if we can't handle and we just give up, then what else can we do? Right? What is the alternative? Just not do anything? But can we afford not do anything? If you can afford not do anything, then maybe that's an alternative. But I know that for many of us, it's not an alternative, meaning we can't just not do anything. We can't just not search for a job. We can't just not work on the things and make our business work. Whatever it is that we're trying to do, we can't just give up and say, well, therefore I can't do anything, right? So since there is no other alternative, then we are in charge, meaning we are the owners of making things work. Or authors, whichever the way you call it. I want to even call it, we are the authority in our transitioning. And I feel like oftentimes we forget that. And I hear you because I forget that as well. Being a coach and knowing all of this, I still feel like sometimes my brain is like, oh, I don't want to do this, or I don't feel like doing it, right? In those moments, the only thing that will keep me going is me owning my own emotions and saying, okay, I'm feeling this way because I am believing this way. And therefore, if I keep believing this way, then probably I will keep feeling like I don't want to do it. But so then I need to change my belief system to, okay, where can I focus on things, right? So let's say even that situation that I was telling about my client who said, objectively speaking, it is hard currently, right? And I was telling her, even if that is true, let's say objectively, we have all agreed that this is a very hard situation. Job wise, the crisis in the international humanitarian law, the wars, all of those things. Objectively, even if this is true, we cannot just keep focusing on that because there is not much we can do in the grand scheme of things, because we want to take care of our loved ones and ourselves and pay the bills and get to the careers and doing things that we want to do. Those we want to keep contributing to the way that we want to, and if we want to do that, we cannot keep focusing on how it is all difficult, because then we will not want to do anything. So therefore, when I say that don't become a victim of your circumstances, what I really mean is find the way to focus on the things that you can do and you keep doing. So in transitioning, we are so often a victim of three things. And I thought I talked about it many times, and I want to just remind here is we can be victim of circumstances, we can become victims of other people's judgments, and we can become victims of our own judgments. Right, so as long as we keep doing that, then guess what we're not going to do? We're not going to pursue what is important to us. We're not going to pursue the goal of transitioning the way we want to, right? So we need to really understand that the main way that we can make any transitioning work is us owning the journey of what are the things that we're going to do to make things work. This is it. There is no other magic formula. And I also feel like currently we are discussing with so many of my humanitarians about how our brain keeps believing that there needs to be like a magic formula and only a few knows that formula, and because the few knows that formula they can be successful in it and others can't. And I just want to really get to everyone to like make you understand that there is no magic formula. The, if you will, the formula that I'm describing is owning transitioning, meaning owning, solving whatever the situations, problems that you encounter in the process, owning, solving them is the only way to get you to the outcome you want to, right? So in the way that you own that, you also recognize how you don't become the victims to those circumstances around you, to all the fears that other people are projecting to you, to decisions that we become a victim to, meaning that we keep delaying decisions, right? We become victim to money, meaning that we just keep wanting to go where the money is, even though we don't want to be doing that thing that that the money is offering. We become a victim to other people's judgments, meaning that if we do that XYZ job, let's, this happens oftentimes in humanitarians starting their own business, they start fearing that other people they know are judging them for having started this business or for having started their YouTube channel or whatever it is that we just are so afraid of, and therefore we don't even want to start our business, right? So whatever it is, we just keep being victim to whatever the fears that the external world gives us. And then we internalize that fear and we say, okay, therefore I can do XYZ. And then we just keep stalling ourselves, right? So that's why the important point in every transitioning, whichever the transitioning you are making, in every step of the way, the ownership is the only one that can help us to keep solving things. Owning that this is the problem that we have and owning that we are the one who can solve it, that we are the one who is in charge of solving it. We are the one who is in charge of getting help to solve it and not the circumstances around us. And it is also important to understand that some people may take it to the other extreme where they say that, oh my God, if everything is within my, I'm in charge of everything and I'm so pressured and I can't take it and I don't know what to do with it. And that is also not useful or helpful for your situation in that moment, right? So pressuring yourself and saying that I have to make this work and I have to change and I have to make it successful, that will create the opposite effect of what you're trying to achieve either. So therefore, we need to start understanding how to take ownership of everything that we're solving in the process without creating more problems for ourselves, right? So the way that you can do this by looking at every situation, whatever the situation is, whatever the problem is, whatever the challenge is, look at it from the perspective of what if you can solve it. Look at it from the perspective of what if you can get help solving it. What if you can get the coaching you needed? You can get the mentoring you needed. You can get the support you needed. You can get the networking you needed. Whatever it is you need to be solving that problem. That is what ownership is. Ownership is not, this is the problem that I have. I don't think I can solve it. I will just keep suffering about it. This is all bad. This is not ownership. This is giving away the responsibility to someone else. Ownership is taking full responsibility, right? So the more you start looking at your own actions, your own way of handling your transitioning, your own way of going through transitioning, as you start observing yourself, you start seeing where you're not taking ownership and where you are just giving up or giving that responsibility to someone else. Because we tend to often give responsibility to systems, to circumstances, to other people, and just feel so powerless. And if we keep feeling powerless, we will not be able to make our transitioning successful, whatever that success looks like for you. So, since there is no other alternative than solving things, then getting help solving it, whichever the way that you prefer, we may as well start working on it. Right? So keep waiting for someone else to rescue, or keep waiting for the system to recover, keep waiting for something else to happen, would be delaying the success that we want to see. And it would mean if we keep waiting, then we're just agreeing to suffering more, agreeing to struggle more. And I'm assuming that's not what you want either. So, therefore, the only solution that I can really like highlight, I can't highlight enough, is owning every step of the way, owning how you can solve these problems, owning that you can trust yourself to be making this successful, owning that there is no other person or other system or someone else coming over and rescue, owning that whatever the situation is, you can come out of it and be successful, owning that you are that powerful, that powerful of a human being that can solve even worse situations than this one, owning that you are the person who has all the skills and expertise within yourself already to be solving them, and owning that you are in charge of managing all the fear and other emotions along the way. And if you would like to learn how to own this process and make this process successful, then come coach with me. Okay, my dears, have a beautiful week. I'll talk to you very soon.